What's up, everyone? I'm Mike Lowe, and we are in EA College Football 25. We're picking our team for Dynasty mode in what I feel is the most realistic way possible. Now, of course, there's a ton of ways you can pick your team. I'm not here to tell you you have to do it this way. And it's a completely different story if you're just wanting to play with like your favorite team, or if you're in an online Dynasty and you want to pick a team that you want to try out or that you feel you can win with, etc. This is more geared towards like your solo Dynasty experience, and you want an experience that's realistic, but maybe it's not as hardcore as like I'm going to start as like the Akron defensive coordinator. It's you starting as a head coach at a program that would be realistic when we compare it to the real world. So let me show you what I'm talking about. And it all actually starts with us looking at the Wikipedia for the 2024 football season. Now, I'm going to go down to coaching changes, but more importantly, I'm going to click back to the end of the previous season. And this, of course, is going to bring us up a whole list here of all of the coaches that have been replaced and are going to be new at their program for 2024. So very easily, you could just say, oh, okay, well, I'll just pick one of these schools. And yeah, that's fine. That's not a bad start. But I take it a little bit further. We go a little bit deeper in realism, because not only are we looking at programs that have new coaches, but we're looking at programs that have new coaches that did not come from somewhere else in your college football universe. So like, for instance, Michigan State is not on my list because Harlan Barnett was the Oregon State head coach. And if we replace him, this guy just like vanishes. It doesn't make any sense. Like, he would just not exist. And to be fair, it sounds like we're not going to have real coaches anyway in college football, but still, it just kind of seems weird that like, wait, where'd this successful Oregon State coach go who's been rebuilding Oregon State? If he's not at Michigan State and you are, he's just vanished. So my list, and it's a top 10 list, my top 10 teams are teams that would qualify for this, where like the coach either had no previous coordinator experience the year before, or maybe they came from somewhere like the NFL. So like, it's not really going to mess with kind of the, I guess, the balance and structure of your dynasty. So without further ado, let's get into the list. That's how I've kind of done this. I will go a little bit further at the end of the list to kind of tell you a few teams that would even be kind of excluded from this list if you wanted to get even deeper. But without further ado, the first option you have is Boston College. So Boston College, they of course have a new head coach. And as I just kind of look through their list here, they, I believe, are dealing with, so they have a coordinator. Their coach came from the New England Patriots. And so he was a coordinator with the offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach for the Patriots. It's not going to interfere with your college football world. So Boston College is an option. Now, it's up to you if you feel that maybe starting in their conference would be a little bit too rewarding for a first-time head coach like you, but still, that team does fit the mold. The second team on this list is Buffalo. So Buffalo, the next team there, and if I go and look at their setup here, I'm just looking at my notes on Buffalo. They have a associate head coach and special teams coordinator from South Carolina. So this coach, yes, was in college football last year, but we only go coordinator deep in EA college football. So again, even though they're not real, even though the coaches' names aren't going to be real from what we're being told, this is still a way that it would fit. So the South Carolina associate head coach takes over the Buffalo job. You could replace that coach, and Buffalo is going to be a nice fit for you there. Next up is a very, very popular team, and that's Georgia State. I know a lot of people have used this team for their particular dynasties. I think it's a really, really fun choice. Of course, you get just a very, very deep recruiting backyard in the state of Georgia. If you looked at the Dynasty Deep Dive, it talked about the importance of like big recruiting areas such as Atlanta. So this is a really, really cool thing. And Georgia State in real life hired the Georgia running backs coach. So again, running backs coach doesn't exist in EA college football. This, by my definition, would be one of the 10 teams that you could pick that would be realistic. Next up, another very popular team, especially in the revamped version of college football, James Madison University. So pretty new to Division One. I forget the exact year they came in, but they have hired a head coach from Holy Cross who is not Division One. So again, not going to interfere with your dynasty mode kind of balance and that sort of thing. If you're worried about, important coaches and that sort of thing that were deserving of promotions disappearing, you're not going to have that. So James Madison, another option for you to choose. Number 5 on the list, Nevada Wolfpack football. So Nevada, they have a new coach, and it's the co-defensive coordinator and inside linebacker coach from Texas, and that was Ken Wilson in real life. So another fit here for you. Could be a really, really cool choice because you're looking at, is this going to be like, are you going to end up rebuilding, say, the Pac-12 or whatever you want to make it into, the Pac-8, the Pac-10? Nevada seems to be a really, really good fit for that. So could be a really, really fun choice for you to go and maybe do something a little bit different in your dynasty. Number 6, similarly, New Mexico State. I think this is another option that people could do if you're kind of looking to kind of rebuild what's going on here in the West. New Mexico State actually promoted their wide receivers coach, and so that was Tony Sanchez, by the way. And I misspoke earlier. I think I said the coach that was replaced, I said was hired on a previous team there. I was looking at the wrong column. But nonetheless, for New Mexico State, it's Tony Sanchez in real life. You, of course, would be replacing that after Jerry Kill left, who was hired by a consultant to Vanderbilt there. So New Mexico State could be another really cool choice if you're looking to rebuild out in the West there. Maybe similarly, another very, very popular team, San Jose State. I know this is a really popular choice when you're kind of looking to be like at the bottom of the barrel. You can go in and really, really kind of start fresh. Of course, you're recruiting in the state of California, which usually has a really, really big talent pool. So definitely some options there that exist. And in real life, San Jose State hired the UCLA tight ends coach. So again, another coach that would not be in the actual universe that you're playing in. It would make sense. So UCLA is number 7 on our list. Number 8 is a popular choice, and it might be the one that I'm going to go with. I haven't decided just yet, but that's Syracuse football. And so Syracuse, again, obviously known more for a basketball school. They play in the ACC, so you'd have a pretty fun conference, and maybe a conference that could build up to be one of the perennial powerhouses again. I think they're probably looked at as like a borderline second-tier conference at this point with all of the realignment going on. But Syracuse is another fun choice. They hired in real life Georgia defensive backs coach Fran Brown. So that's the replacement there that you would be kind of filling in for. Would not interfere, of course, with the real world, as we've said a few times. Number 9 on the list could be the most popular choice. It's up to you whether or not you think it's going to be realistic for a new head coach like you just to come in and just be able to claim a legendary college football job, and that's UCLA. So UCLA hired, and you'll recognize this name if you've been watching football long enough, especially if you've been watching UCLA football long enough, but they've hired their running backs coach, who is also an NFL player named Deshaun Foster. So if you remember his running back career at UCLA, Carolina Panthers, etc., he replaces Chip Kelly, who went on to be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State now. So Deshaun Foster promoted from running backs coach. He wouldn't be in the actual game here, even if we had real coordinators. So UCLA is a really, really cool choice. Of course, you get to play in the Rose Bowl. It's tempting. It's a very, very, very tempting choice there, to say the least. Number 10 on the list is another very, very popular choice, and it makes sense why. It's kind of one of those bottom of the barrel teams, and that's UTEP, University of Texas, El Paso. And again, a lot of you like to kind of start at like those 1-2-star programs. Let's assume that UTEP's going to probably be like that. This is a really cool choice because you get to recruit in the state of Texas, which is one of those recruiting hotbeds. So UTEP, a really, really intriguing choice, I think, that people are going to like. They fired their coach, and they hired the head coach from Austin P, who of course is not Division One. So it fits similarly to one of the schools that we said earlier. I think it was James Madison who hired a coach like that. They hire a coach from Division Two, and this makes UTEP on my list available. And so that's the top 10 list that I have. I did say I wanted to make it a little more challenging. And so that's what we're going to end up doing here. And we're just going to put some nice footage up here because what a beautiful, beautiful preview video they gave us. But looking at that list of top 10, I also wanted to look and see, okay, because we had some coaches that last year, they didn't coach in real life as a coordinator or as a head coach Division One. They came from the NFL or Division Two, or they're a running back coach. But let's go further and make sure that they've had no coaching experience. They've had no head coaching experience because, frankly, if one of these schools is hiring you, you have no head coaching experience. I'm assuming 99.9% of you watching this have no college football experience. So, what are the schools that do not, on that list of the 10, that do not have previous Division One head coach experience? And I'll go through each of the 10 and just say yes or no. So is Boston College eligible if we go this deeper route? They are not. Their new coach does have previous head coach experience, as does Buffalo. So right off the top, number 1 and 2, Boston College, Buffalo, ineligible if you're going a little bit deeper here. Georgia State, James Madison, and Nevada have head coaches with no previous D1 head coach experience. So Georgia State, James Madison, Nevada, fair game. Really can't get much more realistic. It's then up to you if you want to maybe limit yourself on conference or star rating or anything like that. New Mexico State, San Jose State, their coaches do have previous Division I head coach experience. I would take them off the list if you're looking to make it a little bit harder. New Mexico State, San Jose State, ineligible. The final three, Syracuse, UCLA, and UTEP, their head coaches do not have previous Division I head coach experience. So Syracuse, UCLA, and UTEP are eligible. Some really, really intriguing choices in there. So the total of the 10, that leaves us with 6 that would be eligible with this kind of deeper role, maybe differentiation, if you want to call it that. Georgia State, James Madison, Nevada, Syracuse, UCLA, and UTEP. Those are the 6 that I'll be choosing from. Of course, we don't have the real coaches and coordinators in the game, it looks like, but they've still made an impact. They've still helped build these programs up. And it's, to me, the way I'm picking my team, it only makes sense to try and honor that and to kind of fit myself into a realistic role and situation here. So if you're doing it a different way, I'm really curious to hear how you're picking. Of course, sometimes we have different dynasties that we're playing in, and I'm really curious to hear what you're doing with this. So leave me a comment regardless. If this was helpful, let me know. If you have critiques, let me know. Other suggestions, other approaches that you're using, let me know. Really curious to hear that. If the video helped you, definitely give it a like. I would super appreciate that. We'll be doing a ton of coverage of EA College Football 25 this year. Can't wait to get into the game, and I'll see you all soon.